what a blue light special was? My mother would position herself in the center of Kmart so she could be equal distance. And when they made, ladies, there's a blue light special in lingerie, Hanes underwear half off, and she would just grab us and scream, blue light special! We have to go to the blue light special. So I showed up for school dressed head to toe in the blue light special. So naturally, these rich Rumson kids wanted to pick on me. But I had become possessed by the spirit of Henny Youngman. I was like a 12-year-old Henny Youngman. So I was like, you think this is cheap? You should have seen the lady who sold it to me. And then if that didn't make them laugh, it would happen in the cafeteria. I would just show them my lunch. My mother had decided that instead of giving me a sandwich, she was going to give me a lunch that would kind of build ingenuity. So there was cheese, and then a McDonald's or a Burger King mustard packet, and then bread. The cheese, not only was it just a slice of cheese, it was more likely a cheese end. Now, does anyone know what a cheese end is? Cheese end is like the guy who's in the deli, you know, when he gets to the end of the cheese, he doesn't want to cut his fingers off, so that big chunk, they sell it as a cheese end, and it can't be cut. I mean, you could melt it, that's about all you could do. So, I would have this cheese end, this boulder, and the idea was that I was going to make the world's thickest cheese sandwich. So that was bad, maybe that was bad enough, but every item was wrapped in a note. So the cheese was, have a piece of cheese and know your mother loves you. The mustard, you know, a little mustard, more than I had as a child. The bread, this would have fed children in Auschwitz for a week. I'm 12 years old, like explaining what Auschwitz is, you know. Then I put this monstrosity together, and it's like, you're almost dislocating your jaw. Not to mention the fact that I have to say, you know, you eat one cheese end sandwich and you're not going to the bathroom till morning. Ever. Nothing. You know, she should have been, maybe if she'd made like a cheese end and prune sandwich, I had a shot, you know, with like a Metamucil chaser and the chips. Anyway, but so things were going okay. And I felt I had a lot of tomboy power. You know, I had learned that I could sit on people's face and suffocate them with my vagina. Oh. You were slow. And then what happened was, it seemed like I went through puberty overnight. Like I went to sleep and I woke up and Bette Midler was sitting on my chest. I was 12 years old, and all of a sudden, it wasn't like a slow, gradual thing, it was like C-cups. And it's like, I mean, where was my tomboy power, my tomboy chest? I had these horrifying things. It was too traumatic for words. So I decided I would hide them. I put on layers and layers of clothing, and I looked a little bit like the Michelin Tire Man. And then my mother also neglected to tell us that puberty meant you had to start wearing deodorant. So then I was the Michelin Tire Man and smelling like a homeless person. It was really not a pretty picture. And from the 7th and 8th grade, I so submerged myself in these layers trying to hide my breasts that I became a very quiet, withdrawn person, I know. It was actually voted runner-up for most quiet. People who know me have trouble believing that. So, the summer after 8th grade, my mother bamboozled a free vacation to Miami Beach. Now, we had gotten used to being schlepped off to Florida because my parents bought some horrible piece of land in Panama City, Florida. Have anyone heard of Panama City, Florida?
Been there.
Panama City, Florida was known then and probably now as the Redneck Riviera. So the only thing worse than going to Panama City, Florida in the 70s was going in the summer, for the entire summer. I mean, the only good time to live in New Jersey was the summer. So we would get schlepped off to Panama City. Now, people in Panama City had evidently never seen a Jew before. Like, I remember we were loading up on gas when we first pulled in, and the gas station attendant heard my mother say something Jewish. I could have been anything, probably everything she says. And he was looking at my head, and then he looked at my butt, and then he looked at my head, and looked at my butt. And